Hey y'all, welcome to the 8th episode of the Yarn This podcast. I'm Shama, Jessie's Girl 84 on Ravelry and Instagram. You can also find my Yarn This podcast groups on Ravelry and Facebook. If this is your first time watching, thanks for giving me a chance. Don't judge me by my earlier episodes because I couldn't get the audio and video to sync up, but since I've started recording on my tablet, it works. The video quality is probably not that great, but this is what I'm going to do for now. If you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. I appreciate it. Today's date is Saturday, April 2nd, 2016. My segments today are going to be Puppy Love, My Works in Progress, Another One Bites the Dust, My Finished Objects, We Are Family, that's knitting groups, events, independent dyers. Today I'm going to do a book review and talk about a little giveaway, and a yarn pre-order that I'm very excited about. Things that make you go, that's knitting terminology that if you're a new knitter, you may not have heard, and you could have been knitting for years and may not have heard something just because it's never come up. So every week I'm going to give just a few seconds to a new knitting term. And finally, one week, my miscellaneous about my life and things that are going on. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with Puppy Love, My Works in Progress. I am still not working on my campsite. I want to get back to it. I really do love the pattern, but I'm trying to get my another project done, which I'll talk about in a minute. So I've kind of been focusing on that, and I'm hoping that maybe tomorrow I can devote some time to my campsite. Campsite is a pattern by Alicia Plummer, and it's a free pattern that can be found on pompom.com. Pom-Pom is a British knitting magazine. You can get the e-versions online, which are a lot less expensive. But also, I found them at Joann's the other day. It's a small little magazine, very, well, you can't tell my hand, very small. Maybe, I don't know, very small, maybe about the size of a 7-inch tablet. Yeah. So, and it's $20. So if I'm going to get Pom-Pom in a hard copy, from Joann's, I will probably use one of my coupons, 40 or 50% off at least. I'm using Brooks Farm yarn in their Solo Silk blend, which is 50% fine wool and 50% silk, and it's a beautiful blues and purples. I'm not even going to pull it up because I haven't made any progress. I'm using size 7 4.5 millimeter needles. This pattern was written using charts. I'm not a fan of charts, and I don't know if I've ever gone into that with y'all, but I'll talk about that another time. But I'm not a fan, and I also have understood that there are problems with the charts. So I found out that there's a Raveler named Pam0908. You can send her a private message, and she'll send you an email with the written instructions that she wrote out, and they're really, really good. So that's what I should be working on. The other thing that I'm working on is my Wizard's Dual socks. I'm on the second sock. Here it is. Not as far as I'd like to be, but on my Zoom Zooms, they go very quickly, and I stole that term from Cece Allman, Geeky Girls Knits. I'm using Cece's Vanilla Cappuccino sock pattern. If you subscribe to her Java Pearl Designs newsletter, she will send you this pattern free. And I'm doing the Fish Lips Kiss Heel like she also did in that pattern. That's a $1 download, and it's completely worth it if you've never used it. I'm knitting these on size 1.5 US 2.5 millimeter needles. They're my 9-inch Chiagu circulars, and I love these. The yarn I'm using is Kimmery's Knit and Axe yarn in the Wizard's Dual colorway. And like I said, this is the Gryffindor one, and I will talk about the Slytherin one in a few minutes. But I'm really enjoying it. I get excited about when the color is going to change, and I don't know if you can really see. I'm using my Light over here today to try to get a little bit better, truer color, but you can see the depth in these colors. It's beautiful. And I'm really, really enjoying it. If it's this yarn feels like it's going to be really sturdy and hold up. So I'd like to have these done by the time we go to the Yellow Rose Fiber Fiesta in a couple of weeks. I will, though. I'll have them done before then. So that's all my works in progress. Now on to Another One Bites the Dust. Because last weekend was Easter, and I usually knit a little something for my nephews and niece, and this year their baby cousin, I got several small FOs completed. First thing I did was the Baby Bunnies by Frankie Brown. She did the 10-stitch blankets. She's done a lot of other things, but I know a lot of people know her 10-stitch blankets. Which one was that? Baby Bunnies? Yes. I did that one for my niece. And when I first did it, the ears were spread too far out, and I thought it looked more like a bat. And I also did not like the little flower I embroidered on there because it disappeared. So I took the ears off, and I found some yarn I liked better to embroider on the little flower. So here are the ears, closer together. And what I ended up doing was I ended up stitching them together in the middle, and then attaching them to the head. And here's a, let's see, yeah. Here's a view of the little embroidered flower. It's just a lazy daisy stitch, very simple. And here's the pom-pom tail I made. I went down 2 needle sizes. I did this in worsted. I used size 5, 3.75 millimeter needles, and I used Yarn Bee Soft Secret Solids in the hot pink for the body. And I used Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn Sparkle and Peacock Sparkle for the tail and the ear linings. And I don't know what I used for the flower. The next one I knit was Bunny Cubes. Bunny Cubes is a pattern by Heather Sebastian. And again, I used size 5, 3.75 millimeter needles. If you've never done stuffed things before, it's a good idea to go down at least 2 needle sizes so that your fiber fill doesn't show through. You want it to be hidden as much as possible. Since Nash is a little baby, I embroidered on the eyes and nose and mouth, and I did not put a pom-pom tail. But let me tell you what, this was one fun little knit. He's knit like a square, and they recommend putting in like squares of a foam or something. But I just stuffed it, and I made sure that I kind of put it in square, as much as I could. It's not perfectly square, but this was a quick, fun little project, and I would like to make more of these. Maybe do them in like bulky down to fingering and have like a family of bunny cubes. I knit this out of Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn Ombre in the Night Watch colorway. That's some of the leftover from my mom's hexagon blanket I did for her. And then the last 2 I did, and I've only got a picture of one of them because I asked my brother if he would mind taking pictures of them after I gave them to the boys, and he never remembered to do it. So this was the front of the first one, and you're really supposed to fold the ears together on this, but I really loved the big ears. You fill these with beans to make them more like bean bags, and they're small. You can see it just sits in the palm of my hand. And this one kind of looks like a gremlin, I think, with his eyes, but I embroidered on the little nose. And again, this one was really, really quick. I started this one on Friday, I think, or Thursday. Finished it Friday morning or Thursday night, and despite having a ton of other things to make on Friday, I also finished a second one for my other nephew, and then I asked them if they wanted pom-pom tails, and they did. So I made them pom-pom tails, which you can't see. Anyway, they were a big hit, and I also made t-shirt bags for that. And while not technically a knitting finished object, I'm going to show y'all what they ended up looking like. You cut the sleeve, you fold it in half and cut the sleeves and neck. And these are just plain white Hanes t-shirts that I got a package of like 6. And I threw them in the washer on the low setting with Rit dye. And this one I think I did blue blue and emerald green together and got kind of tealy. I also have purple. And then this is the emerald green. The colors aren't real deep, but yeah, I like these little bags. And my sister-in-law's sister is engaged. I usually make gifts for the women at Easter, but her sister is engaged, and her fiance took one too, which I thought was pretty neat that one of the guys wanted one of my bags. He thought it was cool. So I was a little embarrassed because they're not perfect. I'm not a great person with scissors, even though I like to sew, but everybody seemed to like them. So yeah, I enjoyed making them once I got the right needle for my sewing machine. That was tricky. I didn't have one for sewing knits, and my friend Annette79 told me what to get, and I went and got them, and boom, boom, boom. It probably took less than 2 minutes because I took it a little slowly going across, but it's just a straight seam across the bottom, and it was great. Let's see, did I finish any other? Oh yeah, I have a hoe, and we'll talk about hoes and foes in my things that make you go, Here it is. It's my Gryffindor sock. Don't you just love these colors and the striping? I'm telling you, this yarn is amazing. I really, really like it. And you can see the depth in the grays and the greens. I am so not Slytherin, but I do love the colors. And so I'll have this pair of Slytherin versus Gryffindor socks to wear probably before our next episode. Excuse me. Okay, the next thing is final countdown. I've talked about the Valentine cowl. It's a mystery knit-along shawl that I'm going to be using some more of my Kimmery's Knit Knacks and light fingering in the Shama's Choice colorway. I would like to have that on the needles when we go to the Yellow Rose Fiber Fiesta so that people can see her yarn being worked up. This is a pattern by J.L. Fleckenstein of I Live on the Farm blog. Looks really, really cute. I didn't start, obviously it was Valentine's Day. I didn't start along with everybody else, but I will be doing that. Another thing that I'm going to be starting is the Hitafude cardigan by Hiroko Fukatsu. I'm going to pull that up and show you. Annette and I went together and ordered some Knit Pick Stroll tonal, and I told y'all about that last time. You can do the sleeves any length you want. I'm probably going to do them 3/4 because this is not something you would wear in cold weather. Maybe a little bit of a coolness in the air. Annette got pink. I can't remember what the colorway name of hers was. And I got Inverness. And this is a little bit different for me because it's darker. It's not that I don't like dark colors. I do. But, yeah, this is a little bit different for me. Oh, this is pretty good. This is greens, like a pine green and some other kind of green. And then this blue. This is beautiful. Beautiful. I'm really, really excited to start this, but I'm not going to start it until after I've done the other things that I've just discussed, the Valentine knit along and finished up these socks. Kim is dyeing up some yarn for me in coffee colors, and I'm going to be knitting a coffee-inspired sock pattern with that yarn soon, but I'm sure that I will finish the socks I'm working on now before I get that yarn. So, well, I was going to talk about this in 1 week, but it overlaps. Earlier this week, I had been wanting to kind of redo my yarn shelf. My yarn has been over here on this shelf, and it's a nice shelf, but it's deeper and narrower, so I had some yarn stuck behind other yarns because I tried to keep like my sock yarn together and my knit picks together and things like that. So there was yarn I couldn't get to, and I decided to switch because I only had a few books. You can see here and here on that shelf over there. And I have some other things like the mug that my son and I did together. He drew the TARDIS, which is very difficult on something round. He also drew my little knitting nerd, and I wrote. And I think we both worked on this one as well. Maybe I did that. No, he did the yarn ball, and I wrote yarn this. And then at the bottom, I found this quote that I love. Sometimes your heart speaks best through your hands, which it does for me when I'm in a situation and I feel like I need to do something for somebody, but I don't know what to do. My answer is to pray for them and knit. And then I love hearts, so I did that, and I wrote C loves S. That's Chuck's, my husband. And I have all my other little decorations that I had. My Jace Robertson was my first pop. And then my second pop was Captain Tight Pants. And I have, Thor that my younger son got me for Christmas. I don't want him to fall off the stand, but I'm going to bring him over. I love this Thor. He's awesome. And see, you can see his hammer. And he's got changeable hands. It's a very nice little figurine. Anyway, I really didn't mean to get off into that. But here are all my yarns. And I experimented picking up the camera and tilting it so you could see, but it really didn't work well. But up here, I have my mustache yarn. And this yarn over here is what I'm going to knit my sweater out of. Oops. Backwards. There we go. Which is not going to be till later this summer. Then the next row down is all of my sock yarn, except for my Knit Picks sock yarn, which is right here. And I also have some small, I joined No Makers. She did a little mini skein club, and I got a couple of shipments of that, and I have those already wound up, so they're over here. Then down here is other knit picks, which you can't see, and then below that I have other yarns that are not knit picks and not fingering, and my bottom is undyed. Well, so that's where I'm getting to. I had some sock blanks and some skeins of bare worsted weight that my mom had gotten me a few years ago, and I had immediately dyed up one of the sock blanks and was very disappointed. The colors ran together and muddied in some little spots, and the other colors looked pretty good. I kind of think I used food coloring for this, like neon food coloring. But anyway, I decided that I would go ahead and just make into yarn cakes. And let me tell you what, I am excited about this yarn. Now, this isn't showing up as well. The pinks look more coral, but they're pink. But you can see the blues are really bright. And then there is this, let's see, lime green right here. It's really lime. And that's not showing up too well. But I had the two skeins. Now, something I discovered when I was balling it up is that it's both strands together. So I had to pull it apart as I was caking it up. But that's okay. It really wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't that hard to do at all. And now I'm anxious to knit some, maybe just plain vanilla socks out of that, just to see how it works up. And I also have all these others, but I also wound up another skein. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, in 1 week. But we'll get back to that in a minute. Okay, so we are family. I said that we were going to be going to the DFW Fiber Fest, but that was today. And it turned out that all the people I was going to go with couldn't go, except for one at the last minute. And by then I had gone ahead and canceled my plans, which is fine. There were people I didn't get to see that I wanted to see, but you know, I'll hopefully get to see them another time. 2 weekends from now is the Yellow Rose Fiber Fiesta in Seguin, Texas. Sorry about that. My husband came home from work. So as I was saying, Kim Marie 73, Annette 79, and I will be working at a booth at Yellow Rose Fiber Fiesta selling Kim's yarn and bags. That's April 15th and 16th. I still don't have a booth number, but we're going to leave on the 14th and get set up. And then the Fiesta is the 15th and 16th, which is Friday and Saturday. So if you're out there, please come by and say hi to us and pick up some of Kim's awesome yarn or one of her bags. And the next one is going to be the Houston Fiber Fest, which is June 24th and 25th of this year at the Berry Center in Cypress, Texas. You can go to HoustonFiberFest.com to find out more. They don't have the list of vendors up yet, and they won't until May, but I do know that Kim will be there. And last year, Diane of the Suburban Stitcher podcast, Suburban Stitcher bags will be there. Who else was there last year? Western Sky Knits. I got my first skein of Western Sky Knits, and I haven't used it yet. So those are places that will be over the next 3 months. So drop by and say hi. The other thing is, I had a pre-order. I found out about a pre-order from Mustache Yarns, and obviously I like her yarns. This yarn is called The Droids You Were Looking For, Star Wars Trilogy number 1. I'm so excited about this yarn. I ordered it yesterday, and it won't be done until like the end of the month. This is C3PO and R2D2. You could either buy a skein of R2D2, a skein of C3PO, or, well, the way she did it was 2 smaller skeins together, or 1 small skein each. So I did that. So I'll have a C3PO and an R2D2 sock. And guess what day we're starting the knit along? May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'll be taking that on our trip to Indiana, if I haven't finished them before we leave. And so that's mustacheshop.com, excuse me. And what I got was the companion pack. And she'll take pre-orders until April 15th, I think, unless she's just got too many and she has to cut it off earlier. Okay, now earlier I said that I was going to do a book review. I'm sure that none of you have ever heard me talk about Cece Allman. Cece has put out a book called Coffee with Cece. This is what it looks like. I ordered mine from her, and it came from Scotland, and she autographed it for me. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to show the patterns. So if you're getting this book and you don't want to be spoiled, I'm weird like that. When they start giving sneak peeks, I'm like, no, I don't want to see. I want to see it when I get the book. But she autographed it for me. Everybody that did pre-orders, not just me. And she did it in pink, which is her signature color, obviously. This is a great little book. She's a big coffee fan like I am, and a big knitting fan like I am. And these are all coffee inspired. She starts off the book with an intro talking about herself and how much she loves coffee and knitting and designing. And then she goes into her French vanilla cappuccino socks. Now this is the same as her vanilla cappuccino socks, except this one she gives cuff down as well as toe up. And she talks about her Zoom Zoom needles, and every pattern has a coffee-inspired name, and she'll say, like this one, she'll say, so grab your French vanilla cappuccino, your needles, and your yarn so we can cast on. Happy knitting. And she gives these in 3 sizes. She talks about the yarn, tells the yarns that she used, and then she gives you some little pattern notes. And she had Damaris draw up difficulty levels. One cup is the easiest. 1 cup of coffee is the easiest. I thought that was so cute. Then the next section is measuring and decisions. She talks about measuring your foot, how to measure your foot, how to cast on for your toe. I think she said she likes to cast on 16 stitches for her toes. Personally, I find that a little constricting, and for me, I do 32. I usually do a 64 stitch sock if it's just going to be plain or doesn't have like a cable or something pulling it in. But, so I cast on half of my stitches, but she starts off with 8, but she talks about the way your toes are shaped and why she casts on the number of stitches that she does for the tops of toes that you have. Then measuring your foot circumference and your length. And then she talks about her preferred leg height. So she gives you a lot of information that you need to make your socks fit well. For a long time, as I knitted socks, they didn't really fit that well. I kept wearing them because I loved them. But now I know better how to make them fit, and I love the way they fit. So she gives you the cuff down and the toe up patterns for this. Her daughter Damaris modeled the socks, and also she knit all I forgot my word. Anyway, the ones they used for the pictures in the book. So the next pattern is Espresso Macchiato socks. I definitely want to knit these. These were used with self-striping, and this particular one, she said, had 4 stripes. You can use however many stripes on your socks that you want, but she took one color, and every time she made that her yarn over row. You see that? I think that's really cute. So I'll take some self-striping at some point. Might not even be coffee colored. And knit the socks. Imagine I'll end up knitting all these socks at some point in time. She gives you, for this one, toe up and cuff down. She also gives you a little chart as well as written instructions. Sorry about my watch going off. I turned everything down but my watch. And she gives you very good, very detailed, but not overly detailed instructions. The next one is Peppermint Mocha socks. And Peppermint Mocha is my favorite to drink. This one looks really cute. This one has a diagonal pattern that goes around your leg, up the leg. I think this has also got 3 sizes, and it's written toe up and cuff down as well. And again, she gives you really good, clear instructions. Cece's a very good pattern writer. The next one is Caramel Latte socks. And each of these socks has, the yarn really goes well with the name of it. So this one is a caramel colored. And I think this one is a good pattern for a solid or semi-solid yarn. This one has got a difficulty level of 3 cups. I'm not going to hold it up. Sorry about that. I don't want you to see the pattern. She's got her little chart again, as well as the written instructions. This one, I believe, though, is only toe up. Am I correct about that? This one looks really cute, too. Yes. She uses Judy's Magic Cast On. That's what I was going to say earlier. That's what I always use, is Judy's Magic Cast On for my toe-up socks. It's a little tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's well worth it. And since that's all I knit anymore is toe-up, I'm sure that I'll find a pattern eventually that I'll do cuff down again, but right now, what I'm doing is toe-up most of the time. Now, this is the one pattern in the book that is not socks, and this is the Coffee Date shawl. Here's a picture of her cute daughter, Dammy, and if you don't watch their podcast, Dammy has really grown and changed over the years. She was just like 11-ish or something, or 12 when they first started, and now she's 16. So she's really grown, and she's a great kid. Anyway, this is a really neat one. I'm kind of thinking about maybe knitting this out of some knit picks again. Let's see, Preciosa Tonal. They use 3 different colors. And I think I might use Captain. I'm going to pull these up and show you. Which I have used to knit my younger son's hat. Oh, I love that color. It's got good depth. That would be one of the colors. I think the other one I'm going to do is Gladiola the one that's pinks? Yeah, reds and pinks. And then I think I'm going to take it down just a notch and do Stormy for the third color, which is grays. That's not something that's going to happen quite yet. That might be my Mother's Day gift. We'll see. But I definitely want to knit that.
Rain on Sunday in Grace, Idaho.
Sorry.
Conditions reported as partly sunny.
My watch thought I was talking to it. I'm also going to knit a scarf for my husband that looks like the checkered flag at the Indy 500. I think I told y'all before, but I've decided that I think I want to knit it out of the Preciosa worsted weight. There we go. And I'm going to use the Bear, which is not a pure white, but it's hard to find pure white that hasn't been bleached. The Bear is pretty light, maybe a light cream. And I'm also going to use the Panther. Because if I'm going to do something in black and white, I need it to at least have some depth of color. I don't know if you can see that, but that Panther has beautiful color. Oh, I think I'm going to call this the episode of Interruptions. That was my fault. Here's a better view of that shawl. I'm very excited. It's got different textures in each section with a garter stitch section in between. The next one is Strawberries and Cream Frappe Socks. And it was actually inspired by the color of this yarn. That one is a difficulty of 4 cups of coffee. And then I think this is the last one. And it has the highest difficulty level of 5. But this is I Love You More Than Pumpkin Spice Socks. This is a cabled sock. Got a cable up the front of the foot and leg. I've been wanting to knit this sock. This was a pre-release. She'd already previously released this pattern. I'm very excited about this book. So I'm going to have my first little contest. You can go to my podcast group. Go look through Cece's patterns, because you can buy these patterns individually now. And tell me which one is your favorite. And when I record again in 2 weeks, when I go to the Fiber Fiesta, I'll do the random number generator, and I will pick a certain person, whoever the number lands on, and I will buy you that pattern. So go enter that contest. You have to be part of the Ravelry group in order to do that. Oh, I did forget to say, this scarf that I'm going to do for my husband, boy, I'm just all over the place today. It's going to be done in these mitered squares that I found by Elizabeth Zimmerman. And I'm going to do this one because she knits this from the center out, and I can make it as big as I want it to be, because I don't want it to be too big, because I'm thinking about doing 3 or 4 squares across. So I don't want it to be super wide, but I want it to be wide enough that you can tell what it's supposed to be. Let's see. So I guess that's all for We Are Family. Now, things that make you go, FOs and HOs, or what we call them, FOs and HOs. FOs are your finished objects. Anything that you finished, like this sock. But this can also be a hoe because it's a half finished object. It's half of a pair of socks. So that's what your FOs and HOs are, in case you were wondering. Now, on to my final section, 1 week. I already talked about my craft room redo. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing right this very minute. I am dyeing some sock yarn in my pot on the stove using Easter egg dyes. And I think I talked about that last time. I started off with Bear, and I had, it was the sock blank, and I had just caked it up, and then I re-caked it so that it would be looser the second time, and I stuck in 3 tablets before I put it in the water. But this is how it looked when I first put it in, and it's kind of hard to tell because of I'm going to turn off this lamp here, because it was steaming and it steamed up my camera. The second picture I took is starting to get a little darker. Can you see that? And then I just went in and checked, and boy, is it getting dark. The problem was that I couldn't really tell what the tablet's color was, because they looked, the pinks and, the purples and blues looked very similar. And also there were a couple of others that I couldn't tell, and I didn't use them because I wasn't sure at all what they were. And I'm not a fan of orange, so I didn't want orange in this. So I just used purples, pinks, and blues, I hope. I'm very excited. I'm going to let it sit now till it completely cools off, and then I'll take it out and I'll rinse it out in some vinegar. And by the time I record again, I will show you what that looks like. Now, I got the idea from a YouTube video by Kim Knits, C-H-E-M, like Kim, chemicals, chemistry. Kim Knits. She has a lot of really cool dyeing videos. And so I've done this one, and we'll see how it turns out. And anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I was going to show you, my son Kelby went on a trip to see some friends of his, and he bought me a little present while he was gone. He bought me this pop figure, and it's BB-8. This one is a bit of a bobblehead. He bought one for my husband. That's, oh no, I forgot her name. What's her name, Chuck? Your bobblehead? Agent Carter, yes. So he got him an Agent Carter. And so I've got that sitting on my shelf in here now. Let me think. It seemed like there were some other things that I wanted to talk about, but this is a really short episode this week. But I won't be recording again until we go to Yellow Rose, and it'll be, like I said, Kimmery 73, Annette 79, and me working at the booth together, and we're going to record an episode together. So we'll be able to talk about what we're doing together. We're going to talk about the first day of the show and show what we've bought that day. So until next time, knit on.